Imagine a city that began as a cluster of simple huts, nestled precariously on a muddy riverbank. These humble dwellings, scattered along the Tiber's edge, were the seeds of what would become a sprawling metropolis. From these unassuming origins, Rome grew to command the known world, its influence stretching across continents. Its armies marched from the misty shores of Britain to the sun-baked lands of Mesopotamia, conquering and expanding its reach with relentless determination. Its laws, meticulously crafted and rigorously enforced, shaped the very foundations of Western civilization, leaving an indelible mark on legal systems worldwide. And its language, Latin, became the root of many modern tongues, its elegant structure and expressive power echoing through centuries of literature and scholarship. This is the story of Rome, a civilization that continues to captivate and inspire. A legend woven from threads of ambition, raw power, shocking betrayal and unparalleled glory. Rome's origins are shrouded in the mists of myth, a tapestry of legend and folklore. It begins with the tale of twin brothers, Romulus and Remus, abandoned to the wild, saved from certain death by a compassionate she-wolf who nurtured them with her own milk. They were destined for greatness, their lives intertwined with the fate of a future empire. Their story, marked by incredible survival against the odds and bitter conflict, irrevocably set the tone for Rome's identity, a nation forged in adversity, a people who were tough, resilient, and believed themselves to be favored by the gods. When Romulus tragically killed Remus, in a dispute over the location of their city and went on to found Rome on the Palatine Hill, the city was forever marked by both a sense of destiny and the shadow of violence. This foundational myth instilled in Romans a profound sense of exceptionalism, relentlessly fueling their ambition and their unwavering drive to conquer and expand their dominion. The image of the she-wolf and the twins became an enduring symbol of Roman strength, a constant reminder that even the greatest empires can rise from the most humble beginnings. Rome's story continues to fascinate us, even after millennia, because it mirrors our own enduring struggles with the intoxicating allure of power and the relentless pursuit of ambition. Within its history, we see both the pinnacle of human achievement and the depths of human cruelty forever intertwined in its complex legacy. Rome's dramatic rise and ultimate fall serves as a timeless drama, a powerful cautionary tale reminding us that no empire, no matter how mighty, is truly eternal. The enduring legend of Rome still echoes powerfully in our world today, shaping our laws, our languages, and our understanding of civilization itself. Before the age of emperors and imperial grandeur, Rome was a republic, a time of innovation, political maneuvering, and constant expansion. It was a government ostensibly by the people, where power, at least in theory, resided not in the hands of a single king, but in the collective will of its citizens. After overthrowing their last tyrant, a king whose reign had become unbearable, the Romans, with a fierce determination, vowed never again to be ruled by the whims of one man. They yearned for a system that protected them from such autocracy. They embarked on a bold experiment, building a complex system of checks and balances, with elected officials chosen by the citizenry, and a powerful Senate, the heart of Roman political life. The Senate, primarily made up of patricians, the wealthy aristocratic class, guided the state, shaping policy and directing its course. But the plebeians, the common people, also had their own assemblies and tribunes, representatives elected to protect their interests and voice their concerns. This constant tension, this push and pull between the different classes, though often turbulent, ultimately drove the republic forward, shaping its laws and its destiny for centuries. 2 consuls, the highest-ranking magistrates, were elected annually, leading the state, commanding the armies, and wielding immense power, ensuring that no single individual could ever seize total power and become another tyrant. Serving Rome, dedicating oneself to the Republic, was considered the highest honor, whether one served as a soldier on the battlefield or as a magistrate in the halls of government. Rome's expansion across Italy and beyond was a gradual process, born initially from a need for survival, a response to threats, rather than a grand, preordained design. War after war brought new territory, new resources, and new allies into the Roman orbit, as Rome, in a stroke of genius, incorporated the defeated peoples, offering them citizenship and a stake in the Republic, rather than simply subjugating them. Roads, those marvels of engineering, colonies strategically placed, and the uniform application of Roman law spread across Italy, binding the growing network of territories and peoples together into a cohesive whole. This strategy of assimilation, of turning former enemies into loyal citizens, was Rome's secret weapon, its key to long-term success. The Republic's remarkable resilience, its adaptability, and its capacity for innovation made it stronger and more enduring than any rival power. Rome was rapidly becoming more than just a city-state. It was evolving into a complex system, a sophisticated political and military machine. The Republic's very foundation, its principles and institutions, would ultimately shape the destiny of the entire ancient world. And its legacy, the echoes of its political innovations, endures even today, resonating in the very idea of representative government that shapes our modern world. The Republic's ambition, once focused on securing its immediate borders, soon reached far beyond Italy. The burgeoning power of Rome sought new territories, new resources, and new challenges to conquer. This expansionist drive inevitably led to epic clashes with Carthage, a formidable maritime power, in the series of conflicts known as the Punic Wars. These wars would test Rome's strength and resolve like never before. Hannibal's daring invasion, crossing the Alps with his war elephants, nearly destroyed Rome, pushing the Republic to the brink of collapse. But the Republic's determination, fueled by a fierce patriotism and unwavering belief in its destiny, ultimately prevailed against all odds. Scipio Africanus, a brilliant Roman general, decisively defeated Hannibal at the Battle of Zama, marking a turning point in the Second Punic War. This victory cemented Rome's dominance, making it the undisputed master of the Mediterranean Sea and its vast trade routes. With Carthage vanquished, Rome turned its attention eastward, eventually conquering Greece, absorbing its rich culture and intellectual heritage. Macedonia, Syria, and Egypt, amassing vast wealth, unprecedented power, and extensive territory that stretched across the known world. This rapid expansion brought unimaginable riches to Rome, fueling lavish lifestyles for the elite, but also deep inequality, creating a stark contrast between the opulent lives of the wealthy and the struggles of the poor. Small farmers, the backbone of the Republic, increasingly lost their land, unable to compete with the influx of cheap grain from conquered territories. Their farms were swallowed up by massive estates, known as latifundia, which were run by vast numbers of slaves, further exacerbating the economic divide. This displacement and economic hardship fueled urban unrest, as displaced farmers flocked to the city in search of work and opportunity. Generals, enriched by their conquests and commanding the unwavering loyalty of their armies, grew increasingly more powerful and influential than the Senate. The traditional Republican values of civic duty, frugality, and public service gradually eroded, undermined by the allure of wealth and power. These values were replaced by rampant greed and unchecked ambition, as individuals sought personal gain at the expense of the common good. Ironically, Rome's very success in conquering and expanding its empire planted the seeds of its own internal crisis. The city became a magnet for the dispossessed, attracting a massive influx of impoverished and marginalized people seeking a better life. This influx created a volatile urban mob, prone to violence and easily manipulated by ambitious politicians. The Republic's institutions, designed for a small city-state, strained under the immense weight of managing a vast and complex empire. Civil war loomed, threatening to tear the Republic apart. Powerful men, driven by insatiable ambition, openly vied for control of the state, challenging the authority of the Senate and the established order. The stage was set for the rise of a single dominant ruler who would ultimately dismantle the Republic and usher in a new era of Roman history. Rome's greatest victories, the triumphs that had brought it glory and power, would soon threaten its very survival, leading to a period of internal strife and ultimately transformation. Into this turmoil stepped Julius Caesar, brilliant general, shrewd politician, and master of propaganda. He allied with Pompey and Crassus, forming the first triumvirate to dominate Rome. Caesar's conquest of Gaul made him a hero and gave him a fiercely loyal army. His growing power alarmed the Senate, who ordered him to disband his forces. Instead, Caesar crossed the Rubicon, igniting civil war. He defeated his rivals and became dictator for life, launching sweeping reforms. Caesar's ambition and disregard for tradition alarmed many senators. They saw him as a tyrant who threatened the Republic. His assassination was meant to restore liberty. Instead, it plunged Rome into deeper chaos. Caesar's legacy would shape the fate of Rome for generations. The Republic was on the brink of transformation. Caesar's murder unleashed another round of civil wars. Octavian, Caesar's adopted son, emerged as the ultimate victor. He formed the Second Triumvirate with Mark Antony and Lepidus, then turned on his allies. Octavian's propaganda painted Antony and Cleopatra as threats to Rome. At Actium, Octavian's fleet crushed Antony and Cleopatra, ending their challenge. Octavian became Rome's sole ruler but avoided the title of king. He claimed to restore the Republic but kept real power for himself. The Senate named him Augustus, the revered one. Augustus called himself Princeps, or first citizen, masking his true authority. The Republic quietly ended. The Empire was born. Augustus's political genius created a stable system that would last for centuries. The civil wars were over, and Rome entered a new era. Augustus's rule marked the dawn of imperial Rome. The city's destiny was now in the hands of emperors. The world would never be the same. Augustus ushered in the Pax Romana, 2 centuries of peace and prosperity. Trade flourished, connecting the empire from Britain to Egypt and beyond. Rome became a city of marble, transformed by grand temples, baths, and the Colosseum. Aqueducts brought fresh water, showcasing Roman engineering. The empire reached its greatest extent under emperors like Trajan. Roads and a single currency unified the vast territory. Roman law and culture spread, bringing stability to millions. Emperors ranged from tyrants like Caligula and Nero to the wise 5 good emperors. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, embodied the burdens of leadership. The Pax Romana was Rome's golden age, a time of achievement and order. Yet beneath the surface, challenges were growing. The seeds of decline were already sown. Rome's glory would not last forever. The Pax Romana ended with crisis and chaos. The reign of Commodus triggered civil wars and instability. The 3rd century saw emperors rise and fall rapidly, often murdered by their own troops. Economic collapse followed. Currency devalued, inflation soared, and trade broke down. The empire fragmented as wealthy landowners retreated to fortified villas. Barbarian invasions intensified along the Rhine and Danube. The Sassanid Persians threatened from the east. The Roman army, stretched thin, struggled to defend the frontiers. Society grew anxious and fearful, turning to new religions for hope. Christianity, once persecuted, began to spread rapidly. The old confidence of Rome was gone. The empire was in crisis, searching for salvation. Change was coming. Rome would never be the same. Out of chaos rose Constantine, who would reshape Rome and the West. After a vision before battle, he embraced Christianity, ending its persecution. The Edict of Milan made Christianity legal and favored in the empire. Constantine's patronage transformed Christianity into a dominant force. He built a new capital, Constantinople, shifting power eastward. The city was a Christian capital, strategically placed for defense and trade. Constantine reformed the army, currency, and administration, centralizing power. The empire became more autocratic, with the emperor as God's representative. The center of gravity moved from Rome to Constantinople. The western half of the empire was left increasingly vulnerable. Constantine's reign brought stability, but also marked a turning point. The Roman world was now divided, and the West would soon face its greatest test. The end of an era was near. The Western Roman Empire grew weaker as the East flourished. Economic decline, population loss, and corrupt leadership plagued the West. Real power often lay with barbarian generals, not emperors. The arrival of the Huns triggered waves of migrations and invasions. The Goths, mistreated by Rome, rebelled and crushed the Roman army at Adrianople. The frontiers collapsed. Vandals, Suebi, and Alans swept into Roman lands. In 410 AD, the Visigoths sacked Rome, shattering its aura of invincibility. The Western Empire slowly disintegrated as barbarian kingdoms rose. In 476 AD, the last emperor, Romulus Augustulus, was deposed by Odoacer. The imperial insignia was sent to Constantinople. No new emperor was named. There was no dramatic final battle. The empire simply faded away. The Western Roman Empire was gone, but its legacy endured. Rome's story had ended, but its influence would shape the world to come.